Hey guys, how's it going? Today we are going to tour the garden, show you how things are coming together. We're nearing the end of May at this point. You can see I am in a vest because we woke up to 38 degrees this morning. And I think one word to describe the last month, Aaron, what would you say?
Busy.
Wind.
Wind.
Wind. We've had so much wind this spring. I mean, I don't like to be negative or complain about things just like ever usually, but the wind, it can get to me after a while, especially when we get the big gusty winds. Yesterday I was out planting behind the Hartley, and the little geraniums, I brought them out of the greenhouse and they were just laying. None of them snapped off, but I was worried. I didn't know we were supposed to get that much wind, and they were just laying over flat against the soil. So I had to go back out there after the wind and kind of bolster them all back up. So anyway, I'm surprised things look as good as they do for the amount of wind we have had. We thought we would start over here on the west side. Things are looking really pretty. To my left here, you'll see that I do need to come through and do quite a lot of maintenance. I'll explain all of that as we go along. But we've got the Colette roses just coming into bloom. They are completely budded up, and they do this every year. Like, I cut them back hard. You guys know this. I mean, I cut them back to just, it looks like little sticks on the trellis, and then they bush out to where you're kind of like, can I get through? Like, you need to wear multiple layers because you're gonna get snagged. And you know, one could come through here and prune that up, but they're so full of buds that I want to see the flowers first, and then after that we can prune them. Same goes for the instant karma elderberry here. This is supposed to look like a multi-trunk tree, and I just need to come in and trim up the canopy and then take out the inner growth. But it's usually something I like to wait until after it's done blooming because it looks so pretty when it's in bloom. And you know, the perennials, summer perennials are just starting in on their bloom time right now. We've got the coral charm peony looking really beautiful. This was a transplant. I think it might have been behind the gazebo. I can't really remember, but we dug it up and moved it here. Cat's pajamas, nepeta, and irises. I love when all of these things kind of overlap their bloom season, because the nepeta will keep going on and on long after the iris and peonies are done. But I think the color combination here is beautiful. And then the Royal Jubilee roses right here, they're kind of, you can see in the buds, I don't think there's any flowers open yet, but you can see in the buds, they're kind of this vibrant pink right there. And this is frost damage right here. You'll notice that on several of our plants. We had pretty warm spring, and then we had a 27-degree night come through, and it kind of nailed some things. Some things were fine, and some things got it. The hostas in certain areas there was some damage. Things like this, we lost all the fruit in our orchard, that sort of thing. But you win some, you lose some every single year. Lady's mantle right here, I absolutely love. If you do not have this perennial in your garden, I highly recommend this one. I love the leaf shape here. They look especially beautiful with little droplets of water on top. Like little mirror glass. It's just so beautiful. And the chartreuse blooms go with everything. We've got the pink profusion salvia just beyond that. And those are three in this area. The cat's pajamas, lady's mantle, salvia that I've repeated through this whole space. And there's still areas we need to add things to. We've got the urns all planted up with the Supertunia Priscilla. Oh my mercy. We're just at the beginning here. Diamond Frost Euphorbia, Lime-Time Coleus. I think that's going to be a really fresh, beautiful blend. We've got the Anic Rose, David Austin's right here. No flowers open on those yet. Getting closer. There's more of the Lady's Mantle, Cat's Pajamas. This one has impressed me this year. This is the Glow Girl Spirea. Look at that. The Glow Girl, I think it gets its name because of the chartreuse looking leaves. When they very first come out though, they've got kind of an autumn hue, like a little bit of orange mixed in there. And then of course the blooms are really beautiful, and I don't think it's supposed to get much bigger than this. I think this is about its size. I wouldn't mind having more over here, honestly. It's a nice bright spot.
What's that drip doing there on the side of the urn?
Well, I don't know.
Just extra?
Here you go. In case you need more. Oh, sorry, Russell. Scaring him. And then there's more of the pink profusion salvia getting gobbled up by the iris, but I just love these. These were all transplanted as well, I think from behind the gazebo. We did a big push when we donated the gazebo, and we're getting ready for the Hartley. What is he doing? Oh, he's gonna play with his tail. Russell, you are such a nerd. I was like, it's good. It's cool. No big deal. Everybody look away. How funny. I'm just going to leave this here so I don't carry it around the whole property. But anyway, I think I was talking about how we made a big push to move a bunch of the things behind the gazebo to this area that would fit in with the color scheme. I'm going with pink, purple, white, and chartreuse in this space. We've got some Mary Rose, also came from behind the gazebo. And these are looking a little weary. We had so much wind, and we didn't get any of the hail. Some of our valley got hail yesterday, but we did get a little spattering of rain. Midnight Masquerade Penstemon right in there, bringing that burgundy depth right there. And these are looking beautiful. Look at this. Oh, did I miss it? Oh yeah, gotta go back. This is a plant called Mellitus or Mellitus. Common name is bastard balm. I don't like to call it that, but Little Prince sent this plant out. Just one. I want to get more. I didn't know if it would thrive and survive here. They look like orchid blooms, but I think this would be a beautiful one to repeat. It looks so happy. And it's just kind of a new discovery plant for me. I'd never planted it before, so I love seeing that. This Stand By Me Clematis have these kind of downturned, it's a bush clematis. You'll see that it does need to have support. It has these downturned blooms that look like little ballerina skirts. Aren't they pretty? And Thrift, still some fresh blooms in there and some buds, but we're starting to see some aged color on that plant. Our Sugar Shack button bush is looking weird this year. It was so gorgeous last year. It was completely full of bloom. It looked like this, the whole thing. Had these glossy green, beautiful leaves. But like this section looks weird. Like it got nailed. Maybe during that night it had buds on it maybe. And they got nailed and it's trying to come out of that. I don't know. I'm gonna have to possibly do a rejuvenation prune on that one. Take it all the way back and see what happens. Another gorgeous peony. Look at this. So pretty. Another elderberry I need to do some pruning on, some cleanup. And this spot right here, I'm loving the verbascum. I'll show you another spot. I started all of those from seed. Another spot near the house where the blooms are a little bit less aged. These were just panicles from all the way down here, all the way to the tip, full of color there for a little bit, and they're so beautiful. Blue Kazoo Spirea. Daisy May Daisy's in here. I love the lamb's ear. This area is, I actually am loving it ever since we cut back this elderberry. And you might remember what that looked like when I got done with it. It was just like, I don't know, 4 or 5 branches kind of sticking straight up to about here. And I'm going to do a little bit more pruning on that as well when we come through. But I like that it opened up this space a little bit. And we'll need to probably do the same thing right here. But you know, when I initially planted this area up, our property stopped at the corner of the fence. I don't know if you can see that from this angle. Hold on, there's an airplane. So right about where the hose link is, that's where our property ended, and I wanted it to be a visual block. I didn't want to be able to see past, you know, I wanted a nice green wall. So that's why I planted it so thickly. And now it's just very thick. And we now garden this section just beyond it. So yeah, I might have to do a little thinning out right there. I want to go back this way and come back down the west side walkway. Up here, while we're here, it's not changed very much at all, except for the fountain base that we had poured, which you can probably see that little concrete underneath there. So now we've got a nice thick base that's always level, and that's really handy. Surefire rose begonias in all the wells of the maple trees. There's a lot more color in this well so far. They haven't put on a whole lot of growth, but we haven't had a whole lot of heat since we planted them. Okay, I love this view, you guys, looking straight in here. We've got that fountain in the kitchen flower bed that I don't run because it splatters like crazy, but I just like the structure of the piece. I just use it kind of as a concrete piece. I don't know what else to call it. Ornament? What do you call those? Statue.
Statuary?
Yeah, statuary. I like that. We need to come through here at this point and cut back all the daffodil foliage. I mean, in a little while, you can see it's all kind of bent over from the wind. And, you know, in this space, they just don't bloom that well because they don't get enough sun to recharge. They bloomed beautifully the first year because the bulbs were charged up enough to do that. But then, you know, after a few years of them not getting enough sun during this stage of their growth, they just don't bloom very well. So it's one of those things we'll probably start pulling them out here and there and possibly planting them out somewhere else. Down this walkway, there are some gorgeous things going on. You'll have to kind of ignore the daffodil foliage. Same story in this space. All that grassy stuff coming through plants is daffodil foliage. But there are some ornamental grasses that will stay, like the Hakanakloa. That's the Areola variety. So it's got the bright yellow with the green stripe, and they create these beautiful wispy looking mounds. And the Emperor 1 Japanese maple does really well here, and it gets actually quite a lot of afternoon sun, or like late afternoon, early evening, and it doesn't burn. Like you can see this little opening in the trees, and the sun just beams right through here, right onto this tree, and it takes it. Lungwort has stopped blooming, and I probably should come in and cut it back and let it come back fresh, cut back all the bloom stalks. But the hardy geraniums in here are just fantastic. I am such a fan of hardy geraniums. There's so many different varieties out there. The name of this one, I can't remember off the top of my head, but most of them can handle shade to sun situations, and many of them are 4 seasons of interest. They'll color up beautifully in the fall, and then many of them are like a semi-evergreen and will stick around through the winter time as well. The hostas have been spectacular this season. This right here is an Empress Wu. This right here, whatever happened to the end of these leaves happened when they were all furled, you know, like they hadn't uncurled yet. And then it was either frost or something chomped on them. So when they opened up, they look like this. I should probably just remove that. Looks better to not have that there, probably. But I am impressed with this plant. I have never had a hosta get this big and look this good. Same with this one right here. This is the sport of the Empress Shrew. It's called Woo La La. And it also has huge leaves. Look at that. And the fact that I'm not seeing burn or, you know, damage on them is amazing. Right underneath it, we've got another variety of hardy geranium looking absolutely beautiful. This is the salvia. What is this one called? I don't have my phone on me to look it up. It is a proven winners variety, but I love the bicolor blooms on that one. Usually you see them either all purple or all white or all pink. I've got a little space right here I need to do something with, but we really enjoyed the pinkablu lungwort in here, as well as the pink petticoat columbine. Started those from seed, and boy were they gorgeous. I kind of want to let these stay so that these seed heads mature and they can sprinkle their seeds everywhere in this bed. I would be happy with that if they just took over this space. Here's the verbascum I was talking about. This is the other ones. These also started from seed. These aren't quite as far along, but look at how gorgeous these are. They look so cottagey, so easy to start from seed. There's even kind of a yellow one back in here. I know you kind of have to kind of reach around to look, but look at that. So happy with those. Oh, ginger wine 9-bark right here, looking really beautiful and very different from ours out in the south garden that I shared that absolutely look like Ursula of Little Mermaid, or like an octopus. Yeah. This is the last container we have violas in, left from spring. They look so happy, and just they still look so fresh that I can't bear to pull them out yet. Not quite. In this space here, we've got some gorgeous lamium in here. I think this is the pink chablis variety. We've got hellebores, black pearl heuchera. There's Hudson Bay hostas, so these are just a smaller size. They kind of look like Woo La La-esque, but just smaller. So it's nice to have those varieties that you can tuck in a little bit easier. Which direction shall we go?
South garden.
South garden? Okay. Here's our lone hollyhock. This is the lone survivor from the flower bed because the fence was what, right here? Must have been, yeah. Like right here. And anyway, blooms like kind of a light pink, and it's absolutely beautiful. You can see it's all budded up. Doesn't have any water to it. It's been run over by a skid steer several times, and it has a will to live, so it gets to stay. And we are still planning on doing this thing, but when we show you the project going on behind the barn, you'll know why we have not tackled tearing out more sod up here and tackling this flower bed. I'm just like mentally not quite there yet because we have so many other things torn up at the moment. I can only handle so much. You would haul into this in a second. Yeah. Okay, so right in front of us, you can see they've made quite a lot of progress on the house right there. It actually doesn't bother me one bit. I know it bothers you.
Oh, it doesn't bother me that much, but I do think we could put a tree right about where this urn is.
Yeah.
Like a big old evergreen or something.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It provides a backdrop. I see some of you guys comment sometimes about like, oh, it would bother me so much the house is going up, but we knew the houses were going to go up when we bought this property. We knew a subdivision was going in, so it wasn't a surprise to us. So I think I was just mentally prepared for it, so it doesn't really bother me. Yeah, it's just one of those things. Like, it's far away from the house too, so there's no complaints from me whatsoever. I could do without the hammer noises throughout. That's the only thing, I guess. We'll be planting this up probably with some annuals. Pedro is going to be coming in and doing a brick border here. And I don't know how far up that is on his list. So
I think it's pretty low on his list.
Yeah, so I'll probably plant it up. Go ahead and do that. We just recently planted the green tower boxwoods along here. Probably see them better from the other side. Let's go over here. I am so thrilled with these. I think it's such a good look over here, and I cannot wait to see them get taller and get, fill in. There was one, every one of them looks really perfect and in line, except for this one right here. I think Paul, you and Paul did. Yeah. You and Paul were planting over here, and there was like a bunch of concrete for this post, so it kind of like threw it off. But in the end, this will be just a wall anyway. And I think it's just a beautiful look, especially come winter time when there's usually nothing here. There'll be something pretty to look at. Okay, this way. Well, I suppose this corner first. We didn't bother to close. Usually we think about closing like the dumpster enclosure.
Yeah.
Oh well, that's the way it is.
We have a dumpster.
We do. I like the view from this spot. You'll notice some browning tips of the alliums. We'll wait until those are a little bit more done, and we'll cut those back. But this whole area fills in with hibiscus. We've got the lavender crush, I think is what it's called, right? Does that sound right?
I'll find the link.
Okay, they're beautiful, and there's limelight prime hydrangeas in here, serendipity alliums, there's sedum, ruby chip junior buddleias, a lot of pink and white in this area, and the layers when you look beyond. So we've got the bald cypress, there's black lace elderberries, blue spruce, the forest pansy redbud. It's just filling in with a lot of beautiful different things with different colors and different textures, and I'm really happy with it. Hollyhocks we started from seed last year, looking awesome. And these are the pink truffles baptisia we planted earlier on. They're looking good. I think they've adjusted to their spot beautifully. Bright red barberries, planted those last fall. I can't remember the name. I try real hard to remember, but we can't find the name. We can't remember. So we'll try to find it and flash the name on the screen. But I know that there are a lot of barberries that are restricted in a bunch of different states, like they're invasive, but they're not here, which is amazing to me. Because, there's a lot of buddleias in particular that are illegal for us to plant. The ones we have in our garden are not, because they're sterile varieties, but barberries are just not included in that. They do not spread here, and I like the little pop of color that they add. I do want to take a look at this. This was one of the big malad spruces that we had installed, and out of all of them that we had installed, this one for some reason looked a little spindly. And we didn't notice it when we picked it out in the yard, but when it got here we thought, oh, that's a little thin. And so we're very excited to see all of the new growth on a lot of the evergreens this year. Just looking so good. I mean, a lot of this last year. This is what we were noticing. We need to maybe come in now at this point and cut some of that out. But a lot of new growth, making it look real thick and fresh. We're gonna get a little sun, possibly. This is the heptacodium called Temple of Bloom. You can find them in tree form or in kind of this shrub form, and I'm leaving it in shrub form because, you know, our parking area is here, and I want to create a barrier that at some point in time, I don't want to be able to stand here and actually be able to see into the interior of this garden space. So anyway, I'm very happy with the way that one's structured. Kind of want to go down the grass area here, but there's Spartan junipers here. Just kind of take a look down the stone pathway. We moved a bunch of iris last summer. Got a few blooms on them, and many of them took, so I'm very happy about that. Next year we should probably see more blooms once they're more established in this space. And we've got a bunch of pretty like little evergreens in here. I can't remember all the names of all of these. I remember some things.
It's a small blue spruce.
It is, and it has pushed a bunch of new growth that's very soft. It looks very happy where it's at. Down this way, we're just starting to work on filling up, you know, this area. We've got some Veronica in here. Recently planted some penstemon and the Baptisia. We've got, these look so good. These are the reminiscent pink roses. Oh, they are an amazing rose, you guys. Like one that when we very first planted them, they looked a little sad and like a little weak. And when they started to bloom, they come out with these stems with just this profusion of blooms at the end, and they look very like heirloom rose-esque, like they're multi-petaled, really wonderful fragrance, and you get a bouquet from one stem. So this I'm very excited about. The chatalpas, the El Niños, I showed you this recently in a video. We thought they were dead and we just didn't have time to get out here and pull them, thankfully, because they must just be a late one to emerge. Either that or we did have to trim a lot of the top growth off, so they might have struggled a little bit in that cold that we got. But all three of them, there's two here. These were lantanas, which are annual here. I just need to remove those. The third one is here. They all came out with fresh growth. So I'm so happy about that.
Speaking of fresh growth, look at that.
Yeah. Isn't that awesome? Oh, and so soft. Like if you have to get in and work on your blue spruce for any reason, this is the time of year to do it. So it's the only time where they're actually soft to work around. We did decide we're going to plant a tree right here. I'll stand where it's going to go. I think this is a good place for one. Yeah. And then about where Aaron's standing, we're going to plant a spring grove arborvitae. So I want to do a deciduous here that gets wide and has got some thickness to it. And then in front, we'll layer some evergreen interest. I think that'll be a good move. In the end, those North Poles will cover most of everything. So that'll be nice. Black lace elderberry, just starting to bloom. You can see all of the buds here. I'm really happy with the growth. This will provide a really dense block as well, but of course these are not evergreen. Right through here. Yeah, see, look, this is doing the same thing, Aaron. This is, I think, I can't remember if it's a hibiscus, a Rosa Sharon hibiscus, but there's just growth at the bottom. They're usually very late to come out. Yeah, it's still green. That's a good way to test. If you take your fingernail and take the top layer of bark off, if they're still green underneath, they still have life in them. So this one might leaf out yet up top, but there's some growth down below. It's to rub on everything. These are the blue bubbly Baptisia. Now, aren't those beautiful? I remember digging these holes, and I don't know if I had to have you come out here and end up helping me. I think I did. They were so hard to dig. Like incredibly hard to dig. So I was kind of nervous for these because I knew I was planting them right in a big patch of hardpan, but they have done it and they look absolutely beautiful. This blue spruce doesn't look as good as the one we just looked at.
You win some, you lose some.
I don't know what happened to this one.
You know, we're basically treating both of those spruces the same, so it doesn't really make sense why one would thrive and one would die.
Right. So we need to replace this one. It actually worked out because we lost I wonder if there was something, we lost the Royal Frost Birch. So it worked out though, because now we can get the tractor in here. We can take this one out, and I want to put a blue spruce right back where it's at. And I want to put a Royal Frost Birch back where it's at once I can get my hands on one. But yeah, that was kind of a weird deal. It looked okay this spring. And then one day we saw that the other one had all kinds of new growth. And we looked at this one and thought, so I came over here. Sure enough, like I could, well, these needles are staying on. Maybe if we leave it long enough, it'll push new growth. We did recently plant this sweeping Alaskan cedar though, which I'm absolutely loving. It looks really good right there. It's got some yellow. I don't know if it's kind of like a little shocking a little bit. All the other ones that we planted the same day look amazing. This one just has that a little bit of yellow. Should be fine. Okay. Back through here, Indian Magic Crabapple. Come look at the leaves on this one. So see the new growth and look at how glossy. New growth is kind of that burgundy red, ages to the green, has beautiful pink blooms, beautiful berries, multi-season interest, like 4 seasons of interest. I love it. Lemony lace elderberry, like a beacon. And we were commenting on this one in the first tour that we did, or last month's tour. Like how much new growth this Oregon green Austrian pine has put on. Thank you. Does it look even longer since last month?
It does, yeah. That's like 1.5 feet of growth.
Yeah.
In some places.
It's really hit its stride. I don't know, it likes the spot. And these are phenomenal. I mean, the color, when they get full sun, they really light it up. Just absolutely gorgeous. I want to start at the beginning of the grass. Let's head that way. All right, so at this entrance of the south garden, you can see right away the cat's meow nepeta looking so amazing. Everything in here comes on a little bit later. There's some echinacea, Russian sage, some little lime punch hydrangeas right there. But these are the ginger wine ninebarks I was talking about. They are growing like absolute tentacles. It's just kind of wild, but they're beautiful. And that's kind of their natural form. They get this vase shape with these arching stems. And some of the blooms are kind of aging out at this point, but I mean blooms from bottom almost to the very tippy top. And then you can see the new growth in there looking a little bit more of that ginger wine color. This has more of almost a summer wine ninebark appearance. I can hear the bees on the nepeta in here. Oh. Walking down this way, it's kind of fun this time of year. We've started to go through and cut back bulb foliage, and then you can really see like this whole area was so loaded with tulip foliage. I couldn't even tell really what had made it, what I needed to move around. I think like at this point I know I can move these geraniums over here and create more of a thick bunch right there, and then put something different here. Surprisingly, a couple of our yarrow did not return. Is that the most weird thing? So anyway, we've got more opportunity in here to add some things. But I'm really happy with how this area is sort of filling in. I don't know, last year I think all we had really was the birch trees, and there was a couple things over here. But we added late last year some cat's meow nepeta right in this space. And just starting to add some things in this area that I'm very excited about. But these are baby flower beds. I need to come in and cut back. This is the silver bullard, silver lining Artemisia. I need to cut that back at this point so it can flush back fresh, because it's kind of flopping down in the center here. You'd probably prefer I just remove it completely. I like the color in this space though. Yep, things are just coming right along. I think last tour there weren't even leaves on the trees, right?
Maybe just a little bit.
Yeah. The raspberry area just doing its thing. A bunch of starts. I usually have a couple of friends that I text and say, do you need more raspberries? And they come and dig them out. So we kind of just wait until they get some size on them, which we're kind of at that point now that we can start our little networking, see if anybody needs any plants. Things in the flower garden coming along. I haven't been super active out here yet. We're waiting for our bulb foliage to die back before I think I'm going to do all my cosmos and zinnias in that area. So I won't have those until later in the season than I normally do, which is totally fine. Rose garden, most everything has made a comeback that was even just struggling. Some of them are just healthy as can be. There's one I need to replace right there. But that's been mulched and it looks really nice. We've got an open bed right here. I think I'm going to come in with some feverfew maybe even today and get that planted. Ranunculus are looking really pretty. You can see all the color there. Oh, so nice. I am noticing a little bit of thrip activity out here though, so we need to get our mites back in here and hit them again hard with mites, and maybe even apply a few times, and maybe try a couple of different types of biological approaches to take care of the thrip population. Not as thick though as they have been in years past. We planted 6 tomatoes over there that look great. This area, I was gonna try to make it more perennials than anything else, but it's just really taken its own turn. We've got onions in here that look really good. We started all of those from a seed. There's delphiniums blooming. There is a row of perennial echinacea and globe thistle or strawberries. But then we've got a row of rudbeckia with peppers at the end. We've got potatoes. I'm planting corn and beans in there later on today. So we're just kind of mishmash of everything in this space. In this area, this is our dahlia area, and it has been prepared, but I haven't even cracked open the dahlia crates. I think Bethany checked on them a few times during the winter. I peeked in one. No, I've peeked in 2 just to see how the tubers were looking, but I haven't done any dividing. Nothing. So maybe this weekend we'll get into those crates and see how they look. We did eliminate 2 rows of dahlias, so we're doing 5 rows instead of 7. More spacing in between, so that'll be nice. Look at those delphiniums. So those we started from seed. If you look in here, you can see the Firefly Red Pop Yarrow we planted recently. That's a new one coming out from Proven Winners next season. And while I don't do red typically in my flower beds, I love to have it out here in the cut flower garden. It's a really pretty bright spot. We have quite a number of honeyberries this year. Look at that. They're not quite ripe yet. Ooh, maybe this one is. Nope. Oh, that's tart. I need to net these because the birds love them. This one's looking a little stressed. The other honeyberry doesn't look near as stressed. Yeah, this one has a nice deep green color, and there are honeyberries everywhere. And they're starting all over in here. That's really exciting to see. But boy, you have to wait until they are ripe to actually be able to enjoy them. And they do taste really good when they're at the right stage. Aaron, you came through, what day was it, and mowed?
Yeah, still need to trim.
Yeah, but the grass is getting quite long in there, and I kind of learned over time I wanted that meadowy feel, and we do get that in the spring with all the bulbs and such. But I learned that I don't actually love to tromp around in it to access fruit trees and things. So you come through every other time you mow, and mow it at the highest setting, and it kind of keeps the growth in check. Otherwise, it's like this right here. And it gets pretty tall. And when you've got work to do around the fruit trees, or you want to come in and harvest, it does make it kind of hard to do that. So it does, it gets up about this high, which is perfect. And that's what I kind of prefer in this area. Yeah, but that late frost just took the fruit. I've been out here several times looking at the trees to see if I, missed where maybe it was producing some. And there's just zero. There's zero fruit. It all fell off. And I looked at my miniature nectarine tree that I bought this spring, and I thought, well, maybe that one's safe because it's tucked up by the greenhouse. But that one, I could see the fruit that had been forming, and I went over there and just kind of wiggled it very gently, and all of it just fell off, kind of like needles on a Charlie Brown Christmas tree. So anyway, that eliminates, I suppose, one job we have to do late summer, early fall: harvest. So anyway, I mean, it is a bummer to lose your fruit on your fruit trees, but I don't know. I feel like every year there's always something that happens like that. And in this case, I think, well, now I don't have to focus any time on doing any of that. I don't have to be out here harvesting. I can go when I'm ready to can, or if I want to can, I can go to our local farm stands and pick up boxes of fruit, and that way I'm supporting them, and I can do it on my own schedule. I don't have to do it when it's ready on the trees, and there is a little bit of relaxation that comes from that, so it's not all bad. Coming into this flower bed, planted a bunch of common chamomile right here in this corner. I think it's going to be absolutely beautiful. We've recently put in the Oregon green Austrian pine right there. Those don't get quite as big as some of the other varieties, so I think it'll be perfect. And we've just got a smattering of really pretty things. Look at these iris. I didn't even remember that I had planted these. It was a really fun surprise. And there's a whole bunch in here.
What's this right here?
This is a Dobbs frosted juniper.
Huh.
What do you think of it?
I like it.
It spreads out quite far.
Does it?
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to that one filling in.
What's this variety that shoots up water sprouts?
That would be Corinthian linden right there. It's looking good. The leaves look so healthy. It's the weirdest thing. And I do think that they have grown a bit. Like they've gotten bigger.
Not a lot.
Not a tremendous amount, no.
The whole tree should be as tall as those water sprouts.
Yeah.
Those shoots.
Yeah. You win some, you lose some, right? The Spring Grove arborvitaes look great in there. This stuff over here, though, looks awesome. The weeping white spruce, you can see all of the new growth. I'll just point it out real quick. Like all of this right here. It's looking great. We've got the flame willows behind that have really created a beautiful block. I wouldn't mind a couple more in here, maybe backed by a big blue spruce. But we've got a chokecherry in there. We planted this Korean cedar last year, and I thought that we had lost it at one point. It kind of had that weird look to it. Kind of looked dry, like maybe it was dead. And we just focused on the water and tried to manage that, backed off on how much we were giving it, and it's starting to look really good. This is a newer variety of spirea, and maybe again we'll have to put the name on the screen, but I love the color. It looks like we're in fall when you look at it, doesn't it? They're really pretty, and they've got pink blooms when they start to bloom. In here we have the Serbian spruce. This is one of the leftovers from the pond project. There were, 2 or 3 of them that looked a little sketch. Like they looked a little shabby, but they're pushing new growth and looking really great. I'm super happy about that. We've got some roses coming up, or not coming up, they have leafed out and they're all budded up. We moved these from the triangle garden when we had it. I'm noticing like in here, sneaker weeds, they get really big. This is a magical globe birch tree right here. I mean, if you look in underneath the canopy, look at that bark. It is so bright white. It's absolutely beautiful. This tree loves its life out here. I don't know that it's supposed to get this big. It's supposed to be a real small specimen, yeah. We're thinking a blue spruce. What do you think, Aaron? Like right in here?
Yeah, that would be good.
Ish, and then maybe a couple more flame willows. Or maybe a couple more of the black lace. This is fantastic. If you look at it, Aaron, if you come in here, you can see, well, you probably can see it from out there just as good, but look at how gorgeous this is. What do the tags say it gets? 6 to 8 feet tall and wide or something like that? Yeah, they get massive, and it'll get much bigger than this here once it's more established. And this one's 3 seasons, probably 3 seasons old at this point. Love it when they go into bloom like this. To have them bloom like that, though, you have to put them somewhere where you leave them alone because they bloom on old wood. Unless you go in right when they're done blooming, kind of like your lilacs and forsythia, you can trim them up after that. But I just love the structure. I love the bulk and the weight and the interest they provide. This mangave, catch a wave, I am considering moving to the other urn that looks just like this over on the other side of the south garden, because when you look at it from this angle, you can really see it. It looks absolutely beautiful. But when you look at it from the front, which is oftentimes when we're looking at it, you don't really see it because it's the same color as the black lace, and I just didn't really think about that. So we might just pop it out and go move it to the other urn where we can enjoy it a little bit more. Oh, our next garden tour, we'll probably see all of this betony in bloom. This whole area just fills up with color and it's so pretty. We've got a State of Grace rose right there. It's kind of like antique shades, apricot and like a mauve kind of pink. These are the Sesky dwarf gold birch, and that's their topped out size, their mature size right there. They're kind of like that lemony lace elderberry that they bring that illumination to your flower beds. Wichita blue spruce right in here. This bed we haven't gone through and cut out bulbs yet. This is Camassia. There are daffodil leaves everywhere, so that will clean up the beds quite a lot. These are the peonies we moved from the north garden where the pond is, and this peony was big when I moved it, and it flopped over. It completely just wilted, flopped over, and I had to cut it all the way back. That was just last year. And I cannot believe how it has responded. There are 3 of them. There's one just behind it, and then one behind the grasses that you see from the other side of the flower bed. Like if I stand right over here, hold on, I'm going. You stand right over here, you can see the other one. But I want the flower beds to be pretty from both sides because we do drive this lane too. So I don't want everything to be, you know, just the back of the bed. I want there to be some pretty things in here as well. There's more weeds back here. This is the Jolene. Is it Jolene Beautyberry right here? Or is it Beautyberry? There's a little bit of branches I need to come in and trim off, but look at these, the arching stems with these blooms. They don't have any fragrance that I can tell. They were one of those, so I was kind of skeptical. I didn't know if it would do really well. And I mean, there's parts of it that they actually look like it needs iron. So we need to add this to the chelated iron list. You guys, I think we're going to take out the tiger eye sumacs. They're becoming a problem. If we come in here, first of all, they're not leafing out normal like they normally do. They look kind of, it's probably that cold. Yeah, all of these got nipped. So they're just leafing out here, but come in here, look at this. This is like the stuff of nightmares right here. I mean, it's just coming up everywhere. I think we're gonna have to take out all of the main parts, and I think we're gonna have to spray these out, which I don't wanna have to do, but I mean, they're coming up all the way over here. They're coming up, oh, there's one all the way over here. All the way over here. Anywhere else? And this is us keeping up on them. I mean, you could come out here every day and there's a brand new crop. That's why I think we need to spray them out and start killing these roots because, what, you laugh? They weren't supposed to do that. That's what I understood about this variety. So I thought, well, we'll give it a shot because they're just amazing in the fall color department. But I don't think I want to battle this for all of time and eternity out here. All right, anyway, that's one of just those learning moments. Learn from me. Don't do it yourself, please. In happy news, that's the blueberry muffin viburnum. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? And right next to it, we have the topiary we moved from the side of the chicken coop. That was kind of a revamp and transfer, and I think it looks pretty out here. The Autumn Brilliant Serviceberry just absolutely loaded up with blooms, and now it's full of its berries. They are edible. Birds usually clean them up really fast, so it's kind of like the honeyberries. If you're not out here to eat them, which, you know, it's not like eating a strawberry. They're definitely kind of a wild berry sort of taste. But yeah, the birds clean them up super fast. We've got a whole bunch of daylilies and daffodil foliage. There's some agastache in here, as well as hollyhocks we started from seed last winter, creating a really pretty bank back there. I'm really happy with several things in this bed. First of all, the DeRuyter spruce. The new growth on this one looks so good. And this is one that we planted that I think I've talked about it several times, but I bought it one year, stayed in the container the whole entire spring, summer, fall, all through the winter, stayed in the container again for another year. It wasn't until I think the third year that I actually planted it in the ground, and it looked sad and it looked a little sick, and now it's really rebounded beautifully. Plants are pretty resilient. I also love the Chickle Creek birch right here. What are your thoughts on this one?
It's fine.
I remember when I planted it, you were kind of like, oh, it looks dry.
It does look a little dry.
Does it look dry to you? But it just brings such a really interesting structure, don't you think? And texture. I think it does. Another black lace elderberry looking so awesome. And there's a red fox katsura tree behind. There's an angel white lilac right there that bloomed big beautiful blooms, and there's snowball bush viburnums throughout the back area here. This is a cinnamon curls birch here. I think this one only gets like maybe 9 feet, maybe it was 15 feet, but maybe like 6 feet wide only. The catkins that are forming up are so pretty. Look at those. This is my favorite evergreen on our entire property, the Blue Skies Serbian spruce. I'd actually like to get another one of these. I know exactly where I would put it, up in the front flower bed that we've started to plant up there by the ash tree. I mean, who knows if we planted another one of these somewhere, if it would be as happy as this one, but we kind of just found the right spot for it because it is just doing so beautifully. We have a gin fizz juniper back here, which we were just looking at this last night. You and I were out here walking.
We've got 2 of them.
Oh, that's right. We've got another one up in the other side of the south garden, but it's so full of juniper berries. And I love the shape of it. It's got kind of some structure, but it's a little wild at the same time. And junipers do really well in our area. Snowball bush viburnums really were totally full of bloom. Another bald cypress, Norway spruce, weeping Alaskan cedar here. I love this space. There's so many pretty things, but yet there's still a lot of space left. Pretty much every single one of these butterfly bush that I planted, minus maybe that little bit of growth, all of them died. I don't know what variety. They were not a proven winner's variety, which typically I think all of the rest of our buddleias are. These were some lavender variety that were in bloom when we were at Jaker when I picked them out? I think we were. Anyway, they all died, which we'll figure out something different. We have a bloomerang lilac right here. Oh, the wind yesterday. Bummer. But you can see out all the blooms that it has. It's already bloomed. Look at all the buds. It's the reblooming type, so we'll enjoy color from that throughout the season. Royal Raindrops crabapple. There's a Vanderwolf pine. Now this Norway spruce right here. The growth on this one is so cool. Look at these branches. It's like it's just sprouting new growth everywhere. All along the branches, all the way to the trunk. And from the top to bottom too. I mean, the top, there's a ton of new growth as well. When you invest in trees this size, this is what you pray for. You just really hope that they're going to take to your space and that you see this kind of growth. And I think we've seen this on every single one of the big ones, right? Yeah, every single one. You'll see by the pond area, we've got a whole bunch. This larch, I probably am going to have to stake it. This is a brand new planted one, maybe a couple weeks ago. And the wind comes this direction. You can see it's wanting to take, it's really flexible. So it's wanting to take the shape that the wind is pushing it, and I don't want to let it do that. So that needs to be probably added to our staking list. We've got a silverleaf willow in here. Isn't that pretty? I tried planting these down in our townhouse garden, and I tried twice, and both times it died. So it must just like this space right here. I would love to add more in this area, and we've added the periwinkle popsicle baptisia in here just a few days ago. And those are just pretty. I mean, you can see that this space doesn't really have bloom color right now. So now I know going forward we'll get to enjoy this color this time of year. Okay, there is quite a number of things. There's like 40 some echinacea. We started from seed that you can hardly see, but they are in there. And just more space that we need to develop. I did plant these peonies. I wintered these over behind our greenhouse this last year, so I got these planted out earlier on this spring. Look at the Agastache here. That's a really happy one. And there's a honeybee on that one, but look at the speckling. I think they're so pretty. And they're a tough perennial.
How's this plant doing?
Which one? Oh, it's not looking too hot, but you know what?
What was it?
It was an impressionist climbing rose. And I think it might push new growth because it had growth. And then it got nipped in that cold night, and I'm wondering if maybe we leave it. Maybe we'll see some growth. I don't know. Wait and see on that one. North Pole. It's fun to have a North Pole just kind of plunked out. I think this is our only single one out in the flower bed, isn't it? Yeah. Or do we have one more over there? It's fun just to see the structure all on its own and not in a hedge form, although they make for a wonderful hedge. This is a European white birch right here. I love this tree, and it's put on a tremendous amount of growth since we planted it. The trunk when we planted it was about this big, and now it's about this big. Oh! Tried twice and didn't get the roots both times. We've got some bulb foliage we need to clean up in here, but we have started to work on adding more perennials. I just need to keep on going. But we've got the Midnight Velvet sedum with the Back to the Fuchsia salvia and the lemon meringue baptisia. I just showed you guys this in an Instagram, Facebook reel. There's also some more Stand By Me clematis, the drops of Jupiter's oregano right there. On the other side, I don't know which way to go here. Other side, we've got some iris that we moved, and I thought it was all, I knew we had dug up 2 different patches and they were going to be 2 different colors, and I thought I kept them separate, but I clearly did not. I thought this was going to be an all yellow patch, and I thought that was going to be an all black patch, and there's some yellow in that. I don't know. They're beautiful though. Look at these. Oh, they smell so good. I think I'm going to rogue the yellows out because I don't like that contrast right here. So we'll create a yellow patch somewhere else. I should probably come in and tag these so I can remember them from the others. This flower bed really fills up as the season progresses. I know it doesn't look like it now. It's kind of a weird time of year where things are just kind of, they're leafing out and starting to mound up, but they're not full yet. We've got a lot of hardy geraniums and yarrow. There's echinacea, roses, more agastache and veronica in this space. Right in here, this is a bit of honey heliopsis. So yellow flowers on top of that heavily variegated foliage. More cat's pajamas nepeta. This spruce right here. This was one of the first ones, like in the first push of evergreens I think we put out here. And it just kind of sat and sat and sat. And then this year it's just like going absolutely crazy, and I love it. So pretty. We just added the weeping Alaskan cedar there. We've got the mock orange, and these are supposed to be the smaller variety. Oh, they smell so good. They've kind of just sat, like this is the best that these have ever looked. I think this is their 3rd season. That one looks like it's struggling big time. These 2 don't look like they're struggling as much. A nice flower. So maybe we're hitting our stride at this point and they'll start to bulk up a little bit. Hardy geraniums in here. There's sedum that fills in. And of course the iris. Plain overhead. Right here we just had a blue spruce removed, and I want to do something a little bit more centerpiece-esque, like maybe a grouping of 3, something really interesting. It's just that this one, it's a nice spruce. It's out in the dirt lands, but I actually didn't have it centered. Center would be like over 2 feet from where it was planted. I don't know what I was thinking anyway. It always kind of bugged me. So we moved that one, and we have yet to fill in the hole, but we're going to plant something else right here. Okay, let's head up to the area by the ash tree. Okay, so we're up here in the front of the big lawn. See the big lawn right there? And if we rotate this direction, you can see the house. This is just for point of reference right here. And it's just so sparkly and white and clean after its paint job this spring. And you can see that there are no potted plants up there, no window boxes. Like, I want to ruin nothing on this house or near this house. And it's been so nice because anything that we have put up here, including window boxes included, have not had drip. Well, we tried at one time, and we put a bunch of holes in the house trying to run the drip tubing, and it never worked properly. So anything that was around this house, minus the 2 pots by the front door, I mean 2 pots we can do, but nothing can be on drip. So it's all hand, you have to do it by hand, so you have to drag hoses around to not have to do that. It just eliminates that daily, like, ugh, you know? Like, even if it's bringing beauty, it still brings that extra job you have to do, and it's just been so lovely not to have to do that. I love this space right here. Love it. I love it so much more than I did when it was in the old lawn. You know, there used to be grass that came all the way around this ash tree, and it was always kind of sparse. We didn't really use this space, and then there was a fence that went right in front of it, and then our lane. And now it's just like this little oasis, and it always feels like this no matter what time of day, especially once the tree is leafed out. We started planting some shade stuff. This is all brand new last year. And there's some beautiful stuff in here. The Acorus ogon grass kind of tucked in around these heuchera, which I had these in a window box, I think our kitchen window box. And then we moved them out here, and I can't remember the variety of those. But ferns, hostas, there's some heucherella in here. The interesting thing about this space, so the hostas had already leafed out, and when there was no leaves on this tree, and then we had that, I keep talking about the 27-degree night, but it did do some damage. So the hostas that are underneath this area sustained quite a lot of damage, and we just need to go through and clean it out. They'll be totally fine. They're pushing new leaves, but this is what happened. They got all of these kind of like browned edges, but the hostas on this side that were underneath the protection of this spruce, perfect. Those are the love story hostas. They're brand new this year, and I love them, and I don't think that any leaf has any damage on them. And we haven't cleaned these up. Like, they look amazing. This is a red dragon Japanese maple right here. And then there are actually some remnants of things that the previous owner planted when this area was much sunnier, but they still thrive. There's some sedum. And wait, I planted some sedum in here, didn't I?
I don't think so.
No? I thought I added a few. There was some sedum, and then did I? Anyway, there's sedum, yarrow, Russian sage, and I love how it just naturally comes up in this space. I love how it kind of peeks over the boxwoods.
I think the boxwoods kind of got nipped in that.
They did.
Too.
Yeah, they did. They got a little bit of damage. We're going to have our boxwoods trimmed next week. Pedro's crew comes through and does it in about a half day. All of the boxwoods on the entire property. So that will be happening, and then that'll take that top little layer of brown off. We've got the Gatsby Gal oak leaf hydrangeas. They are so full of buds. They just love this space. I don't know what it is about this one spot, but you know, every once in a while you find that little perfect location, and these just light it up. Beautiful blooms, beautiful burgundy red fall color. Look at the shape of the leaves. Love this hydrangea, and the Globemaster alliums in there. I don't even know if I can pick my way through here. Oh, yeah, the bees love them. I see poppy pods in there and a few poppies that are blooming. I'm not going to poke my way through there, Erin, because I think I'll damage some stuff. There's some phlox in there, the opalescent phlox, and there's some, the ultraviolet, I think, and there's some Olivia, David Austin roses in there, and some Durvella orange, Kodiak orange Durvellas underneath the June snow dogwood, right there. Okay, I'm going to come back through this way so we can look at a few more things. We've got the Stonehenge Dark Druid Yews right in here, and I chose those because they're supposed to go from sun to shade. They can handle a lot of different light situations. So we just kind of placed those along this side, and I want to repeat it on this side.
I like the new growth.
Yeah, isn't it pretty?
Right.
Yeah. This one has new growth. I need to do some clean out. I just need to take my pop-up bag and my pruners and just go around and do some cleanup in some areas. There's a ginger wine 9-bark right there, because believe it or not, like, this area looks really shaded right now, but this is like full sun. It goes from full sun to pretty much full shade in the same flower bed. We
need to pull out that, rogue out that sunflower plant.
This one.
Yeah.
This is like the Maximilian sunflower.
It's too much.
It gets so big. And I planted the Jubilee Weeping Alaskan Cedar right here. It's doing great, but it's a little too close to this. So even if we took out like half.
Yeah, I would take out the whole thing.
It looks so good right now, though. At least it's something here, you know. The Russian sage patch right there. And this used to just like kind of climb over the fence that was here. And then there was a gravel driveway. Yeah, so the stuff would like kind of poke through the fence slats.
I think I would like that sunflower. What plant is that? You said Maximilian?
Maximilian sunflower, right?
You guys know. Like it just grows and grows and grows, kind of like too much, and then it gets to the climax where it's going to bloom, and then you see it for like 3 days.
And it's like tiny little yellow flowers at the top. Yeah. Definitely a back of the flower bed sort of situation for this. This would look great out in the south garden somewhere, like tucked behind some stuff. We enjoyed a beautiful tulip show in here this spring on both sides. And I know that this boxwood hedge looks weird. I recognize that. We get comments about it all the time. I'm just not quite ready to take it out, because it'll come out when we eventually take out the white picket fence, or not. Maybe I'll plant a cone boxwood right here and put the concrete fence section right here. Do something more boxes on that side so it like ties it together. Yeah, they need to come out anyway, though. I mean, if you look right here, I do know they need to come out. Maybe we can do that soonish, because those holes look pretty bad.
Yeah.
I just keep cutting dead out of them. I don't like to do things in too much of a hurry. There's a lot to work on in here, and so sometimes just seeing something green, even though you don't love it or it doesn't really go, is better than the alternative sometimes for me. There's our pots. We were thinking about it after we got it done. You know, the grass was still fairly green. We got a lot of rain. We've had a lot of rain this spring, which has been wonderful. but not enough to kind of keep the lawn looking pristine. So it's just going to get more and more and more brown. So we're going to have these really pretty pots and then just brown grass behind it. So when we do updates, it's not going to ever really look as good as it did the first day we put the pots together.
But eventually there'll be horses over here.
It will be. Yep. And that fence will be gone. And the pots will be somewhere else. But they have put on growth. There are some in particular, like the ones with the bubble gum and the Super Tunia pot I put together at the end. We'll get there here in a minute. But yeah, I swear they bulked up. The Persephone garden, formerly the Versailles garden, is looking so good. Oh. So we just planted these Surefire white begonias last night. Got them all done in the ground. And they look awesome. I actually didn't water them in by hand. I think the sprinklers did a good job. These are not drip irrigated. These get water from sprinklers. And it's a really odd light area because they're, backed with honey locust trees, and the front side gets a lot more sun. So you have to choose a type of annual that can handle both while still looking good in both different kinds of light. So last year we did Surefire Rose and they were awesome. So we just decided to do Surefire White. We just flip-flopped the maple trees on the west side and this area. Probably every year we'll just flip-flop the Surefire begonias because it's a good fit and they do really well here. The Globe Masters up here look awesome. They're always a really fun show in late spring. Sprinter boxwoods look pretty dang good compared to last year. I wonder if we have any video of what they were looking like last year.
Have you warmed up to the sprinters?
Well, in this spot, yes.
They honestly look pretty good.
They really do. I pruned them hard. Remember how ugly they looked? Yeah. I pruned them hard and they really have rebounded from that beautifully. We have the containers planted up here. Recently did that. I think we'll just cruise into this section right here. Now you'll notice a truck kind of parked in front of our pond area. So Chris from Green Source Landscaping, he's here. We're going to end by the pond and show you. We're dealing with string algae still pretty bad. So we'll talk through that and show you what it looks like. Anyway, this area, you'll notice a hose strung out because we don't have sprinklers in this space that water properly, because we are going to do new sprinklers in this area. And I actually think I want to bring reshaped, like I want to make this flower bed way deeper, but I think I want to have grass on both sides of this because I think it would look weird to have an island of grass to the right of the Hartley and have just big heavy flower beds, like a real heavy flower bed on this side with a skinny flower bed and then an island of grass. I think we need to connect the area and have some of the grass come over onto this side just a little bit. It doesn't have to be a lot, just enough to balance the area out a bit. So, I mean, we've got the big project in the back that Pedro's going to be working on. So this is just going to be hand water to keep it alive until we're ready to tackle this space right here. This flower bed's always a really fun one. There's hostas that come up in here. The columbine just kind of takes over, as does the lamium, and I love it. I love this look, especially when we've got such formality around the Hartley. I just like kind of the overabundant sort of feel, and then we don't deal with any weeds in this sort of area because there's no space for them. This is a wayfaring tree right here. It's a type of viburnum, and it just bloomed, and it produces red and blue berries, which you can see the variegation. Really pretty. And the ajuga that we planted last year, I need to get in there. Do you remember when we trimmed this up, this euonymus? Yeah. And it's already like just taking over again. I need to get in there because I planted ajuga all the way underneath. But I'm real happy with how it's kind of peeking through. So once we have grass in this area, we'll probably have, just a little couple of flagstones leading up to the grass from the fireplace. But then we can kind of reshape this flower bed area. And the honey locust tree is going to be coming out at the end of this season because it's more than half dead. And we've talked through different ideas, making this an outside entertainment sort of kitchen area with the fireplace, but we've got the huge brick patio right there, so we've nixed that idea. We want to keep the cozy fireplace and we'll recreate a flower bed here or a potager or something like that. It'll be more plants than patio because we don't want patios everywhere around the house. There needs to be good balance. And there's already, like if you look through there's already the little seating area. That's such a pretty view through here to me. I love it. With the cozy coop in the frame. It's life though. That's our life right now. It's tricycles and bikes and cozy coops, and they land just randomly around the property. So anyway, leading up to the Hartley area, I do want to plant a couple trees, and maybe you guys can help me decide. I want to plant a couple trees on either side, and I want them to possibly be big trees. We can't use this greenhouse like normal people use a greenhouse. It gets too bloomin' hot in there in the summer, and even in the wintertime when we try to use it to film, we have to pop up shades everywhere because it's so bright. So what I want to use this as anyway, we want to use it as more kind of like an extension of our living space, house plants, things like that, citrus. To do that, we have to have more shade. It's just too hot with, usually full sun beaming in there. And the shades up there do a good job, but it's not quite enough. So I like to frame in the view of the Hartley right here with two something that have kind of a tidy structure to them, but that gets some size. And I just haven't decided what that is yet.
What if you did more Pacific Sunset maples? Would that be too much?
No, that might be perfect. I hadn't even thought about that.
Because you already have,
that's a good idea.
You're going to have that foliage around the Hartley, and you can, limit. They're already limbed up pretty well.
Yeah.
So you could see through.
That's a good idea, Aaron.
When are the artichokes coming out?
I love the artichokes. I don't know. Some of you guys don't like the artichokes. I don't get you. I don't get you at all.
I am not on team artichoke.
Oh, I think they are awesome. They've got such a cool structure, and they're so low maintenance. We don't ever have to touch them. Look at how productive these are. Look at these. Look at these artichokes. Come over here. Look at this. Look at how beautiful these are. Like, how can you not love them, like popping out, looking like they're loving their life? Maybe it's because we can't really grow artichokes just out in the wild, out in a flower bed. They have to have protection. So they're kind of one of those plants that, kind of like rosemary, that you want to grow desperately and you really can't outside. So when you find a location where you can do it, you just love the plant because of that. That's where I'm at. I love them. I'm not going to even go in the Hartley. It is so covered in dirt. Right now it's going to need a top to bottom hose down after this project back here. It's just, ugh. I came in here the other night and did one of these to see how dirty it really was. It's so bad. It's so bad in here. But there's no point in cleaning it yet. Not until we're done with the project in the back. Okay, so let's go through here. Oh, this is still one of my favorite views.
Even with the cozy coop?
Yeah, well, Samantha loves that. This is just so beautiful with all the hostas and the heucherella, and it's just I love the dining set that we ended up getting. Just the whole thing is so pretty to me. I just love it. And the flower bed, we have planted that up. This is just going to be a time will tell sort of situation. I need the geraniums to grow so I can get rid of those red leaves, throwing it off. But it's going to be a very pretty pink and purple mix right here. The lemony lace I'm loving. Last year they were too little to hold their own with the Japanese anemones, and this year they're doing a much better job keeping up. The incredible hydrangea hedge is going to be phenomenal. Like last year we thought it was amazing. I think this year is going to be even better because I feel like this one was the smallest of the bunch, and I feel like it's really filling in and looking beautiful.
Wasn't this big one here the one that was broken?
Yes.
How did that end up being the bigger one?
I'm not real sure. That one was just kind of puny, and I had to end up cutting a lot of it out, and I don't really know why. So anyway, I think it's just going to be absolutely beautiful. And then we've got some poppies in bloom, lamb's ear, ferns, another Empress Wu hosta. Our tricolor beech is looking really pretty. This needs iron. Oh, that needs iron real bad. That's a Coco Loco. No, that's a Distant Drums rose right here. But the tricolor beech looks beautiful. Brick patio area, we planted some clematis, the Guernsey cream, and they're already climbing the trellis right here. And haven't done much for planting in here. I think I might bring in the base of our Kensington 3-tier fountain and use it as a planter in here just to get a sense of what size of piece we want here in the end. I do want water, I think, here because we won't have water behind the Hartley most likely because the pond is so close. So anyway, I think it would make sense to have some water, have that sound right here, but I just don't know. I don't want anything super tall. I want when we sit down, which we sit down out here a lot on this patio because the kids right around out here. I want it to be low enough to where we can still have a view of the Hartley. Oh, I don't know. It's just going to be plants this year because I haven't figured out exactly what I want in this space. We do need to plant out these containers. We've got the yellow twig dogwood. We planted these up early this spring. Yellow twig dogwood, which I planted just for the branch color. So these will go out in the south garden or the dirt lands. There's heucheras in there. There's spring bulbs, pansies and violas. They did really well. Okay, and then the front of the chicken coop, I think that's on my list for today to plant. The Zephyrin climbing roses are looking beautiful. They're a thornless climber, and oh my gosh, this one fell down in the wind. Oh no. Oh, sad. You can see my training wire. It just came right off the training wire. Oh, that went up and over with the other ones over the window. Okay, let's move around back here to the parterre garden. This is another space I need to plant up with some annuals that we've got, but the Japanese maple looks really good right there. And we have some foxglove that I started from seed and delphiniums that are coming up beautifully and starting to bloom. And they're the varieties that don't bloom until the second year, so it's always fun to see that because we've got a year invested into those already. I just planted up the parterre yesterday with mostly, poor things got, like I mentioned, blown over by the wind. But most of the stuff in here, I started from seed, like all of those geraniums. And I think it's gonna be a beautiful mix. So it's the bullseye salmon. They've got burgundy and green leaves with the coral colored blooms or salmon colored blooms. And then I use the same thing up here in these containers. Everything's got a fine layer of dust on it from yesterday. But anyway, we've got the salmon geraniums, and then we've got the double twilight superbells and the wire vine. I think it's a really pretty look. But I still have yet to plant up the end caps on either side of the Hartley. Still a lot of work yet to be done. Okay, so now we have the pond and the back property area. I think we're gonna switch spots. You wanna switch spots with me? Sure. And you can walk us through? Yeah. I feel like you have a much better handle on what's going on back here.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think you do. Oh, look at it back here.
It's Mars.
It is Mars. We're kind of used to this.
Chad has done a good job of just kind of slicking it up. He got rid of all the berms out here. He got rid of that random concrete slab. Mm-hmm. We also have our hoops hooked up.
Oh, yeah.
Or installed.
We'll have to get closer to those.
Yeah. We have our electricians here. I'll show you what they're doing. So this is the well that came with the property. And we ran, so they were here like a week or two ago to run power from the barn. Well, it turns out it needs a little bit more power than what we could give it from the barn. So we're actually coming from a transformer, which is on the other side of the basketball hoop. And that's what powers up our neighbor's house. But we're coming off of that, and we're just gonna run brand new power here. And then actually in the end, we'll probably end up powering the barn from that transformer. Just because we're like using more and more power in the barn. And so anyway, we've got the trench from the barn to here, and then from here, they're gonna trench from like this location and head straight across the dirt lands.
To the
This is like our dirt lands 2.0.
Yeah, to the far side of the basketball court there.
Yeah.
Where they're
and then I'll show you when we get over there. But I wanna show you the berms that Chad has started on. So he's kind of bringing the dirt up here. They sort of kind of got rid of the berm that was here, or just at least augmenting what was here. And I kind of like the way it looks. They haven't knocked down these piles yet, and I think they're gonna bring in a lot more dirt. Mm-hmm. So we'll probably bring the berm up just a little bit more, but I like how gradual it is. And it slopes down pretty steeply on this side. So I don't know if maybe we should do landscape fabric on the back side of this berm with maybe some rocks so that we're not having to weed it. Mm-hmm. I don't know what we're gonna do exactly, but
it would make it look clean from the other side.
Yeah, I think we're off to a good start. Let's walk down to the corner here.
I don't know if you can see right here, but this is how far out you can see the tire marks.
Yeah, the lane that we have, the like driveway, whatever, will come kind of like this, mm-hmm. and it'll veer out like this. And then it'll kind of come in a little bit, undulate in, and then back out again.
Sure.
So this will all just be planting evergreens, large trees, shade trees, just kind of you name it. It's amazing how quickly it turns to powder. I mean, it just rained, but it turns to powder very quickly. So our lane is gonna start kind of curving here, and it's gonna go on the left side of this tree over here. And then this will all be a planting area, but you can see how steep of a drop off it is over here. This is where Chad was just like pushing all the sod kind of down the hill. We thought about, you know, maybe one day terracing this area, but it's north facing. It's not great for really growing anything, and we never see it. The only people that see it are the cows out here. You know, there aren't even really, there's one house over there, but you know, we never see it, and I just don't think it's worth it. So we'll probably, you know, create some type of a line, probably in line with where the barn is, and we'll plant trees and things on this side of that line, and then just nothing over here. I don't really think it's worth it.
I kind of agree with that. I think if the neighbors were closer, maybe I would want to, but they're so far away that they don't even really see it.
Yeah, right. Nobody sees it.
No.
Except for the horses and the cows.
Yeah. I don't think they care too much.
So you probably don't really notice it that much, but this area right here was like severely sloped before, and Chad has brought in a ton of dirt to level this up, and this is where we're going to put our high tunnels up next to the red barn. So I think he's going to bring in a little bit more dirt here, and we'll set the high tunnels back, you know, maybe another 10 feet or so off of this edge right here. And we'll just have two of them that are kind of facing this direction, and this would be a nice spot to put them. It's not going to bother anybody in terms of like the look. So I think this will be a good
they're tucked
area
away.
Yeah, they'll be tucked away, and we can keep all our extra plants, things like that.
I'm going to grow in one of them.
What's that?
I'm going to grow stuff in one of them.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're trenching to the red barn in case we want to run power for like lights, you know.
Fans in the greenhouse.
Yeah, right. Yeah, just having power over here is like, now's the time if you're gonna run a trench, because right now they're not even putting any wire in the pipe. They're literally just running a trench and throwing some conduit in there, and that's fairly, I mean, it's fairly cheap to get that done. When there's nothing inhibiting them, you know, there's nothing they have to go around, and they're not breaking anything to get there. It's just all kind of virgin right now. So anyway, the trench is here, and they're gonna pop up. They're actually gonna pop up on the inside of the barn with just a little, you know, panel.
Yeah.
And
See,
they'll
I don't
run
even
their,
know this. This is illuminating.
They'll just run their line over to that transformer.
We've got a big bunch of plants due to arrive in about a week for this fence line.
Yeah, it's like 70 trees.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm not used to being on this end of the camera. I gotta watch where I'm stepping. I'm gonna trip over everything. There's the play area. Hasn't been able to be used the last few days because of the high winds and blowing dust right into it.
Yeah, once we get some trees around it, and you know, the kids can come back to using it again, although it'll get hot.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, we'll come in with some shade trees.
So this is the transformer that we're running everything off of. So we'll have just another meter, and basically everything out here will be run off of, you know, our neighbor had a second meter as well, one on the house and then one here. So basically we're just taking over his meter and then running our power from here. So, but check out the basketball hoops.
Look at that. Now the kids can actually play. Is that at its lowest setting?
Hold on. Yeah, probably. I'm able to fulfill my dream of being able to dunk.
Boom.
So Samantha comes out here and she's able to make buckets, which is
Well, you got
nice.
her a little ball.
Yeah, we went to the store and she really wanted the small one. So anyway, these just go up and down with a little crank on the back. So it actually tells you what the height is. And I can even go lower than what it is.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah, you can go really low. Or just start cranking it all the way up, and once you get to 10, you're at 10 feet.
Nice.
I think this will be fun. The kids will use this a lot. I'll come out here and shoot a lot.
Yeah. Dun dun dun. Pond area.
Do you want to switch it?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, well, all right, well, come check out the pond.
It's a beaut. Actually, all the plants around it are looking awesome. See? Big malad tree with new growth. This is actually the tree with the least amount of new growth, but it still has new growth. Everything back here looks so good. Some blooming hardy geraniums right there. Oh. Look at
Okay,
this.
so
I'm doing a quick overview
the
here.
algae's back.
Algae is back.
So Chris was out here earlier, and he brought in a second ion gen. He also added more water flow around where the ion gen is because he was thinking that was, he's been talking with other, pond people to try to figure out what to do with the algae. He said that, he's about 30, 45 minutes away in Idaho, and he doesn't do almost any ponds over here. He does mostly ponds in like the Boise area. And he just doesn't deal with algae issues like this. He was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Everything's easier over there.
I guess, yeah. So we're the ones that have the algae problem. And, Greg is pretty adamant about us not using things like algae fix or algicide because from what I understand, it's like not an organic way to go. It is safe for the fish to use, but it ruins the balance. It ruins your like biodiversity, and it ruins all the beneficial bacteria by using those things. It also takes care of your algae, but you ruin your beneficial bacteria. And I can appreciate Greg's point of view, trying to make the whole system cohesive and work together, where you are trying to build up your beneficial bacteria to where eventually you don't have an algae issue. But it kind of sucks going through like the baby phase sort of your pond.
I feel like this is an intense baby phase.
Yeah, they kind of jokingly say that it's like have a puppy for a couple of years.
False. Puppies are cute.
Yeah, if you had a really ugly puppy, maybe, like
really misbehaved puppy that
really
never sleeps.
digs all over and pees and poops on your carpet, maybe that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we are going to try to continue to do like the organic, natural approach if we can. So there are some things we're going to use. Chris is going to come back with some string algae buster, which apparently is organic or natural or doesn't ruin the biodiversity. So we're going to try using that. We're also going to use the second ion gen and just for a while keep those on 10, which is the highest setting, and hope for the best. He did say he's noticing that some of the algae is starting to break off. And so he said between some of the warmer temperatures and some of the other foliage plants starting to grow, because those actually do compete with the algae.
Oh.
So having as many like pond plants as you can, creating some shade, and having things grow that compete with algae is another thing that you can do to combat naturally.
So we need to go get more lilies.
Yeah, probably do.
On the positive side of things, the fish are all doing really well, and we've still got all of them in there. So as long as they're happy and they stay happy, then I guess I'll be happy.
Chris also mentioned that it is possible that some of our fertilizer ran off into the pond from fertilizing the trees. Well, the fact that it slopes into the pond, you've got some high points, and when it rains, some of that fertilizer could have...
That seems a little far-fetched to me.
I don't know, I can see it.
I just don't think we use enough fertilizer close enough to the pond with that amount of rain to make that happen. I don't know. I mean, I suppose it could be, but...
the fish definitely have enough food source.
Yeah, they certainly do. I am very happy, though, with the plants around here and how it's coming together. That still is awesome. We just need to get the string algae under control. After that, then... we'll be golden. And I do think too, shade has such a big deal, or has such a tremendous impact on a pond, and I don't know if maybe we should try to plant something closer so we can have faster shade. We've got tons of stuff planted, but they're all babies, and you can't create like 100% shade right away. It's just going to take some time, so we'll probably have more growing pains with this thing, but it makes me reluctant to put in the dream stream, I'm not going to lie. I feel like we need to get this under control and get it dialed in before we expand it and make it bigger. I don't think that's a wise decision. So anyway, that's where I'm at with it. And I think we've pretty much hit everything. Other than, this new area out here.
Real quick though, check out the new growth on this evergreen. This is one of the first that Nathan put in. And this one especially is just super soft. Has tons of new growth on it. This is all new. So there you go.
It is a nice
I'm so
one.
proud of it.
Yeah, I know. It's such a pretty one. There's so many good things going on, you know. I mean, I'm so happy with this. As soon as we're done with this back project behind the barn, Chad's gonna come and we are going to put in our lane. This was enough wood chips to realize that we did kind of nail it with where we put the lane. And now we know exactly the trajectory we need to go. So he's gonna come in and excavate that, put down road mix and gravel and create our lane. And then we're gonna focus mainly on the outer portion of the border, you know, and get trees and stuff planted and going like we have right here. We're just going to continue on, and I think that will make things look more and more put together and nice. And I did say we would come closer to a few of these pots, so I think we'll end over here. I'm not sure that, whoop, there's a bee in my hair. Is it gone?
Yeah.
Okay, whew, there it is. I'm not sure that this one's put on a whole bunch of growth, but look at this one. I feel like these have bulked up.
Yeah, I think they have.
I mean,
They all
especially
look really happy.
this persimmon looks way bigger.
I put a lot more drip in there. Can you see that?
And I feel like your Supertunia, your single right here, has gotten bigger too. Like the arms have gotten longer. It's looking nice. Yeah, it's a lot of drip, Erin. That's hilarious.
Too much?
No, I think it's good. And you guys, that is going to do it for our end of May garden tour. Things overall are doing so well. There's still so much to do around here and so many opportunities for new fun planting areas, and we're just going to keep chipping away at it. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. If you made it to this part of the video, thank you. That's, I'm sure, a super, super long one. So anyway, we will see you guys in the next video. Bye.